Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of this series of talks. Today, we shall be talking about Trump. Now, why should we talk of Trump so far away on the other side of the world from where we stand? But there are very cogent reasons for doing so. We had been accustomed to thinking that the modern world had advanced to a stage where truth was an established value, where consideration and concern for others were accepted, where universalism was tending to be the norm of thought as well as act, where the world thought of all the people in the world, especially the ones who are less privileged than their own selves. Trump represents a slide from that stage. Call it bombast, call it falsehood, but Trump is not for truth. It may be perspective, it may be a propaganda, it may be a way of putting across your viewpoint, rather dominating with your viewpoint, whatever it may be, that trend. It is also, in contrast to consideration and concern, a selfish focus where you think only of yourself. And from universe, you come down to parochialism, rather, you shrink within yourselves. And when somebody can make the world power, America, with its very educated people, very enlightened people, very well-off people, make them think, make them shrink, then it is something that we deserve to talk about. Maybe as a lesson for ourselves, maybe as an assessment of the world to where the world is going, or maybe as a reminder, a warning for instituting corrections within our own thought, within our own thinking, within the modules that we have taken for ourselves. Now, thinking of oneself, thinking of one's country, being proud of it is not a bad thing. After all, every one of us, we live within our own spheres. We have our beings there, and all our advance, all our progress, all our achievements, all our attainments are within that sphere. But we hope, rather, we should hope to move across, to go outside, to try to encompass the whole world within ourselves, even while we are tethered, we are focused, we are held fast to a particular place. Over the last 2 or 3 decades, maybe more, a tendency which would earlier have been thought of as a sinful tendency has developed. People, even as the world has progressed, even as there has been greater and greater wealth produced in the world, acquired in the world, the general level of people all through, right from America to the lowest income groups, there has been a surge. And together with this surge, there has come a strange feeling that people need to look to themselves, need to fend for themselves, need to think only of themselves. It did emerge first somewhere in the late 90s in Europe. In the second decade of the 21st century, it flourished in Britain and ended as, rather we can say, culminated in the Brexit. And then around the same time, it flourished in America too. And the phenomena it threw up was Trump. Now, it is very the contrast is very sharp here because Trump came soon after Obama. Obama getting to be the president in a landslide victory all over America was seen as the pinnacle of equality, pinnacle of justice, pinnacle of the rise of the downtrodden. And around that same time, Trump came up with the slogan as if America of the whole world, the world thinks that the greatest hegemonistic power in the world is America. Whether you speak in Africa, whether you speak in Russia, Asia, or whether you speak even in America, nations generally hold America to be a hegemonistic country, to have trampled down their values and to have subdued them, to have ridden roughshod over all other peoples and countries. And here came Trump arguing that America had been wronged, that Americans had been victims, that America needed to be great. It's very difficult to see in which age that greatness that was being advocated there lay. But it did click. Trump came to power. He, if he did not play havoc with that presidency, the first presidency, he certainly led America down the slide. Then came Corona, and somehow everything, there was a change. And now Trump has again risen to be the president of USA. He recently completed 100 days of being in office in his second term. And during these 100 days, he definitely played havoc with America, with the world. Today, Trump is verily all over the world. Ghalib used to say, "Badnaam honge to kya naam na hoga." Roughly translated, it will be notoriety is fame by another name. And today, Trump is having that fame and is riding all over the world with that fame by another name. He is wrecking countries. He is causing troubles all over. And over the last 2 weeks, rather 3 weeks, we have seen a Trumpian effect in Canada. The other day, we saw it in Australia. And in both the states, Trump's effect has been in the reverse. People, the voters, they have reacted hugely for people who were seen, for parties who were seen as able to stand up to what they called Trumpian nonsense. Alongside, there has been an election in the city-state Singapore too, and there also the vote of the people has been for stability. It is important to note that in Canada, as well as in Australia, as well as in Singapore, the opposition was deemed to have a fair chance of getting to the helm of the government. And that opposition in Canada as well as in Australia was conservative. The conservatives, somehow or the other, were seen as aligning with Trump or representing the values which Trump works, operationalizes, and promotes. And people trounced these conservative parties or people or the leaders who were seen to be either close to Trump or going on the same lines. That way, the Trump's rise and this fall is a reminder, probably, that we need to, that the world needs to again go back to the drawing boards, think of the policies and polities, think of the values, think of universalism versus parochialism, think of truth versus flashy falsehoods or versus bombast. Think of selfishness versus consideration. And if America is America of today, America after 100 days of Trump's full steam power is any example, then there is definitely a rethink. There is a rethink within America itself. People are rising there. People see now that the bombast of making a country great, too much of pride, too much of focus on that greatness is a falsehood. It is this surfeit of national pride appears to be a trick used to get voters to vote for a particular slant and then go on to do whatever you may choose to do. The Trump there in America, he has almost dismantled the American welfare state. He has dismantled the health infrastructure. He has dismantled the education system there, and people are ruined now. People are suffering for the policies, and these are the people who voted for Trump. Now they realize that this whole campaign, this whole business of making America great was a trick which was played upon them. Their fears or probably their own patriotism was played so that a person could get too much of power and ride roughshod over everybody else. Probably there are reasons there for now. Now there are definitely lessons for those constituents who were so agog at getting Trump elected. It's not that Trump came out of nothing, that whatever he was going to do was not known as it is. He declared whatever he has done, it was his declared policy. And in a manner of speaking, Trump is only being true to what his election planks were. But the point is that when all those election planks were laid out before the people, why did they fail to see the evil which was writ over them all, over all those planks, over all those policies, over all those programs? Or was it that they were misled? Rather, they were led astray by a focus on a very different thing. And these particular policy measures, they were just fillers there, and people did not pay any attention, or people took it for granted that the state structures, the democratic institutions of America, of their country, would be sufficiently strong to hold Trump back. Today, we find Trump is not ready to listen to their Supreme Court. It's not ready to listen to their even defense establishment. It's not ready to listen to their health institutes, NIH as it is called, and has his own view. And as we see that this is not a well thought out view. These are not the issues which have been thrashed threadbare, which have been discussed. They appear to be all whimsical things and are being implemented in a very whimsical way. And America is getting the worst of it. We can say America voted for getting worse, but as it is, the more important, the more vital thing here is that America was so lulled with a false narrative that it thought voting for its own greatness was the best thing they could do, and now it has turned out to be the worst thing there was. There are tariffs, there is trade war, there are very complicated situations. There was almost a ridiculous stand on Gaza, and there is a very flagrant stand Trump has taken against Ukraine. It's not a question of whether USA gets cozy with USSR. The point is that there is a country which is being unjustly invaded, and the world's greatest power stands not with the victim, but with the aggressor. This probably taken together is the worst thing American Democrats, American Republicans, American people at large could have expected. And this is what they have been landed with in choosing a man who was only for himself, who openly lied, who did not care for propriety, who did not care for care and concern, who cared for nobody, who routinely talks practically senselessly. Probably there is another lesson here that countries, nations, people, we all have to commit our own mistakes, for we are very lazy to learn from the mistakes of others. And committing our own mistakes is probably the lesson that the people need to learn. This is happening all over the world. This is happening in Europe. This is happening in England. This is happening in America. This is happening in Asia as well, all over. People are being misled. People are being led astray with blanks and narratives which are rooted not in truth, but in falsity, but are always cushioned with very parochial, very narrow, sometimes communalistic, sometimes oligarchic cushions, and people are misled into agreeing to those agendas, supporting those demagogues, and bringing ruin themselves as well as to the world. Probably this talk is making people realize that move away from values, movement away from truth, movement away from concentration, and getting too very selfish, whether it is community-wise, whether it is region-wise, or whether it is nation-wise, is not good for the humans at large, and it's not even good for the very people who are led into such thinking. Probably we all need to examine this. We all need to have a closer look at Trump, what he promised, what he stood for, what he is doing, and what is happening all over because of those actions. Those are the lessons we all must learn. Probably we all must practice. Thank you.